A lark and her momster are coming your way. Gonna tell it how it is, so won't you join us today? Hello, and welcome to Friday! Friday! The day that we record A Lark and Her
Momster.
What did I say about phones? Do not disturb.
How do I make
Alright, we're back. I had to teach my mom how to turn her phone onto Do Not Disturb. So if now phones won't ring in the middle of us trying to record the podcast, Susan.
I'm sitting over here in my full Luddite position.
What's a Luddite?
What's a Luddite?
Yes.
You don't know what that is?
No.
Look it up.
I'm thinking of like Ludo from Pan's Labyrinth.
No, sorry.
Aw.
You just have to look it up. Google it.
Okay, and Google is free. By the way, everyone, for all you people out there, Google is free. So much research out there in the world.
I think you're stuttering.
I'm not stuttering.
You are stuttering.
I'm not stuttering.
Is that because you're drinking today's wine?
I am drinking today's wine. Wow, did that sound so salesy or what? Yeah, why, yes, Linda. I am.
At least you're not calling me Karen.
Yes, I am drinking today's wine, which actually sounds delicious because I've only had snacks today for the most part. I haven't had a legitimate meal. And the wine we are drinking tonight is a Prosecco called Bread and Butter.
Bread and butter. It's actually a product of Italy, and it comes from close to Venice.
Oh. Venice.
Venice.
The city that's almost like our hometown, sort of kind of underwater. We don't know if it's going to be the next Atlantis or not, but for now they make really good Prosecco.
They do. They definitely do. I haven't been to Venice yet. We need to put that on our bucket list.
Bucket list!
Yes, and this particular Prosecco has a shimmering, delicately fruity, floral citrus aroma, and it's followed by likely yet soft notes of ripe apple, pear, and white peach, balanced with refreshing acidity. So here's to our acidity.
Here's to acidity. Cheers. And I would imagine that it would pair really well with bread and butter. Sorry.
It would.
It might.
Yeah.
It'll pair great with anything, you
Plus,
guys.
bread and butter is what you say when you're holding hands and like a pole comes in the way and you have to stop holding hands. You go, bread and butter. So it's kind of like, why are you spitting the wine back into the wine glass?
I'm sorry. I was laughing too hard if I tried to drink it.
Did you really just do that? I can't believe.
If I tried to drink it, I would have coughed and it would have been a dilemma. I'm sorry. In my head, I have
dilemma?
Don't put the lime in the coconut. I was having intrusive thoughts, and I was just imagining this couple walking hand in hand, and a pole just happens to come right at them. I don't.
And they had to separate and say bread and butter.
So much funnier in my head, you guys.
Which is a good transition to today's topic.
What, my head?
No, the fact that...
My intrusive thoughts?
That you're spitting your wine back into your glass.
Oh, you know why? Because I'm an adult. I actually saw something today. My friend Georgina posted something on Instagram, and it said, man, it's really hard to be an adult being 13 years old. Or a 13-year-old adult, that's what it was. It's really hard to be a 13-year-old adult. And it is.
It is, but you're not 13.
I'm not in my mental state sometimes.
Oh, was it a photo of someone your age?
I can't remember.
Because most 13-year-olds are not adults.
No. We know that. That's a fact.
They don't have the brain capacity. The brain doesn't stop really fully.
Oh my God, you're killing her. Hi, soapbox. Would you like to step down?
No, I want to stay on my soapbox about how the brain doesn't fully develop until you're 26 to 27 years old.
Unless you're me, and then your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 33.
Ever.
Hey.
What?
I'm getting there. But today's episode is about adulting.
It is. So I did a lot of research into adulting because I know it's something that, I became an adult at a younger age, than you. But I didn't become a mom till I was a little bit older. So I worked from the time I was like 15 years old, and then went to school, and then stopped going to school and was working, and lived my life, and then went back to school, and then I had you, and
That's a whole different type of schooling. That's like the school of life.
that was the school it was a school.
It was a school.
It was a school.
It was a type of learning.
It was definitely learning. It was an experience. It's
still an experience.
It's still an experience, yes. And so anyway, I thought, I'm going to delve into whether there is anything, because I know you've struggled with adulting.
Well, and what is it? What is it to be an adult? Because what's so interesting is people think, oh, I'm 18, I'm an adult.
No,
but
not till you're 27.
Apparently, via the research.
What we know about...
Right, cognitive
Well, not just the
development.
cognitive development, but the actual neurological development. The brain isn't hitting its capacity. And some people have better cognitive skills and reasoning skills at a younger age. Yet, even with that, sometimes decision making and choices aren't necessarily the healthiest, but there's a lot that goes into that. It depends on their childhood experiences, the people they surround themselves with, their resources in life. There's a lot that goes into that. Yet, at the end of the day, adulting requires knowing a little bit about how to function on your own and be successful in that functioning. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that at 33-ish.
Ish.
It's hard, and I will say it's not something, and I'll let you get into your research because I know you've done some research and have some data around adulting, but it's really not something we're taught how to do in a classroom setting, in schools. I know our families, our parents, they try to teach us what we need to learn.
No, we don't teach you necessarily. We tell you.
Or they try to model or tell us how things need to be done.
We assume that you will catch up based on what we have demonstrated, and yet not factoring in the idea that when young adults enter into adulthood, they have had no practice in those skills.
Right.
And so if you're not practicing it, it's very hard it's like learning meditation, right?
Yeah.
When you first start learning to meditate, it's hard, right?
It's really hard. I'm in my journey right now, and it's still hard. And I have a tracker that tells me how many days I've tracked doing meditation, and I'm on 142 days, and let me tell you, I still have thoughts that are like, oh,
squirrel.
Shit. Yeah. Or like, oh my god, wait, is that the washing machine, or is that my ceiling fan? And then you have to come back into that present moment. It's hard.
It takes practice.
Yes, it does.
And commitment and focus and all of those things. So let me kind of tell you a little bit about an article that I found online through Vox.com. And it's titled, "The Skills You Should Know Before Moving Out on Your Own." It's written by a woman named Allie Volpe. I don't know if I said her name correctly.
Volpe?
Volpe? I think it's Volpe.
Allie, you're dope.
Anyway, and it really encapsulated what's needed as young people move towards independence. And it states the responsibilities are vast, and they range from hard skills like budgeting to soft skills like...
Budgeting's hard, okay?
It is. It's hard.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you don't do it.
Moving on.
To soft skills like relationship deftness. And no two individuals and their situations will be exactly alike, and that's due to like their work experience during adolescence, their family dynamics, the pursuit of higher education, or not. Situations like student loans,
Big deal.
the costs associated with where you live. Yet overall, there are common responsibilities and skills that can be mystifying if you've never really had to practice them or you haven't learned them. And this article shared some baseline knowledge about key subjects that will help make the transitions into self-reliance a little smoother. And why in the hell are you over there just dying laughing? Please, thank you.
I'm so sorry. I love all the research that you've done. So while we are live and unedited, we do have the occasional outline so we don't forget what we're talking about. So we have our research. And there's just a line in here. My mom, who was like the grammar Nazi, there is a line, which we don't condone, by the way. Grammar, yes. Nazis, no. But there is a line in here. And it says, if you've never not familiar with... I'm sorry.
It's a typo.
Okay, but it made me laugh. It made me laugh. But getting into, being an adult and having friends my age be in different places in their lives, I can tell, some people have had parents who have been able to help fund them buying a house or fund them, paying off their student loans. So maybe what they're making at work doesn't necessarily have to be as much as like someone like me who would need to make more at work in order to financially stabilize myself.
Because you weren't born into a wealthy family. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'll allow it.
Oh, thank you. You're just
no control over that.
SOL.
Hey, at least I was born into a very entertaining family.
Well, some days.
With lots of love. Rich with love. But it is something that I've seen. I have people my age who have master's levels degrees.
Where's my
And then
thing?
I don't know, but you said and we're not allowed to say that. So
you said
I did not say
You did.
Moving on. I have friends who have master's levels degrees, whereas I got a Bachelor of Arts with honors in music. And let me tell you, I didn't do a whole lot for my career, but I have amazing experiences. We'll get into that in another podcast
and you
episode.
have a beautiful graduation photo with Sir Paul.
I know, with Paul McCartney. It's a great photo. My heels are incredible. My hair looked fantastic. And
you did. You looked really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I aged. I adulted.
No.
That was back in my innocence before I had to be an adult when I was just spending money and looking great.
Let's reframe. You are adulting now, but in the time since that photo was taken, I don't know that I would have said you were adulting.
No.
But you did cut your hair.
Dyed it so many colors. But research does indicate that 81% of college grads wish they had learned more life skills before graduating.
Amen.
It's like when those credit card companies, as soon as you graduate college, I think it's college.
Before you graduated, they started sending
they start sending you credit cards and you're like, ooh, free money. You guys, if there are any teenagers out there listening to this at all, it is not free money.
Nope.
It's a great way to build credit if you do it the right way and you don't do it the wrong way. AKA,
if you listen to your mother.
You don't do it the Larkin way.
Right. But you listen to your mother.
If you listen to your momster, you will be okay.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. So one of the things in the article were blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. It's the wine.
Apparently you can't type either, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting the death look. Okay.
Anyway, there's a law graduate, Genevieve Belair, that was featured in the article. And she launched an app called Real World because she found adulting was harder than it probably should have been.
Amen.
And she offered several real world, you can't see me making the air quotes, but I'm making them around the words real world, ideas around these key concepts. For example, budgeting. She recommends a 50-30-20 rule with 50% of your income going to housing, utilities, food, transportation, basic needs like childcare, even if you have children or a child. And then 30% going to entertainment And that would include your streaming services, which
or all of them.
Right, all of them.
Netflix, Amazon, Prime is Amazon, the Hulus, the Disneys, the BritBox, the Acorns. I won't go on.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then 20% going towards savings, including saving toward retirement. Even as a young person, it's important to start those savings. And so, talk a little bit about your budgeting skills, honey.
Okay, well, this is not an ad, but I do want to shout out Rocket app because that has actually helped show me how many subscriptions I did not realize I had.
You mean Rocket Money?
Rocket Money, it is an app.
Sorry. Yes, but it wasn't Rocket app.
No, it's not Rocket app. It is Rocket Money. It is the Rocket Money app. And it is the best $5 I spend every month because it does show me how much I'm paying. I'm paying. It's connected to your account. So it shows me when it's like, hey, hi, you don't need that much shit from Amazon. You can dial it back. You spent $100 over your budget. And so you know for next month, like, oh, dialing it back. Don't need that. But it also shows you how much money you're spending on streaming services. Or I didn't know I had 2 Netflix accounts at one point. So close one of those. So that's a really great app. I know there's another one called NerdWallet that if you're a parent, you can start for your kids to kind of help them learn how to build credit, learn how to budget. I don't know too much about that because I didn't have that growing up. We didn't have cool things like apps. You
didn't even have cell phones.
No.
And when I was growing up, we didn't even have, at a very young age, we had rotary phones. And we didn't have phones that you could take with you into another room. So you either had to stand in the kitchen and talk.
This went from budgeting to like, I'm going to complain about the fact that we didn't have technology when I was a kid.
So my point in all of this is these newer apps are really great opportunities to learn what you could have learned if you just listened to your momster.
Yeah. But I didn't do that.
No.
Although I will say it's fascinating that I have listened to your friends all tell me things, or other female adult figures tell me things in life and going, oh, okay, that makes sense. My mom will say, I told you that exact same thing. And I'm like, oh, did you?
Yeah.
And one ear out the other.
And this is why I drink.
But it is important to budget, and it is important to budget for, things that even if... Oh, hold on. I think we have someone at the door.
We do. It must be someone bringing us a budget.
Well, it was not a budget at the door, but it was wine.
One of our listeners sent us a bottle of wine for a future episode.
And we are really excited about it, but we're not going to tell you what the name of it is until that future episode, and we will give a shout out. Wow. We will give a shout out to that listener when we talk about that wine in a later episode.
Yeah.
So coming back to budgeting, and just coming back to skills in general that I wish I had known, growing up, things that there's only so much that parents can really teach us, though. I feel like these things should be taught in schools or have courses on these things. And I know that there are, free online courses, but it's not as exciting as like, oh, learn a new language, which is important, but budgeting is also very, very important. And learning how to stay on that, stop making faces at me. Learning how to stay on that budget is hugely important because things do come up like car repairs. Things come up like Luna has to go to the hospital because she gets somehow injured and screams in the middle of the night, and I think it's pancreatitis, and apparently it's not necessarily that. She hurt her back a little bit, and so $1,600 later, my mom's having to help me out with the vet bill. So all of these random things come up that we don't necessarily know are going to happen, so it's always good to plan.
That's right. Planning is important.
And I didn't realize that until I was 33 years old.
Well, at least you finally figured it out.
I'm figuring it out.
Better late than never.
Exactly.
So another area that Genevieve Belair talks about is the importance of researching and selecting the best health insurance options. Because did you know that children can stay on their health insurance? Well, I guess not children, because they can stay on their health insurance until they're 26. So I guess that means technically they're young adults. But once a child of a parent, always a child of a parent. Yeah, you're still my child. Do you know that when you call me, I literally tell people...
I'm sorry, it's the... Did you know? Did you know?
When you call me, I tell people, oh, my child
is calling.
My child is calling me.
Because I'm on the other end when you pick up.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
My child is calling me. And they're like, she's in her 30s. She's always my child.
Yes.
So I think it's important to find the most cost-effective health insurance, but also one that really does cover your health needs and has lower deductibles along with lower copays. And a lot of times younger people think, I'm just going to take this because it's the least expensive option.
But you're paying more out when it comes to, medication that you might need, or doctor visits, or hospital visits. I know for myself, I have an autoimmune disease, and so I see the doctor a lot. And I need something that is going to cover those doctor visits, because they can be upwards of $200 sometimes.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Healthcare is very expensive.
Because we live in a country that doesn't recognize the importance of healthcare for everyone.
True.
Which is why I still want to live.
This is why you drink.
Which is why I drink and want to live in another country. Anyway, so another important thing that Ms. Belair speaks about is cooking.
Oh, does she now?
She does.
Does Ms. Belair talk about the importance of cooking?
She does. She does. And that could be its own episode, because you did not grow up with a structure that showed you.
I grew up with, you know how we cook? We press the number 5 on the microwave. And we wait 5 minutes for that bitch to warm up. And then we're eating good.
Mm-hmm.
You made really good pasta, though.
I cooked occasionally.
I
You just didn't like what I cooked.
I was a child. I liked chicken nuggets and brownies. I didn't like I like my grandmother cooked, though. Gami could cook. I did not pick up cooking from anybody. I don't enjoy it, but
your
I like to
Gami
bake.
didn't like cooking. She definitely did not enjoy cooking.
See, the thing with me is, I will cook if someone else will clean, or if someone else cooks for me, I will happily clean. But I ain't doing both of them.
Yeah, I get stuck in that same cycle. And what I think with cooking, it's not just the cooking, it's the grocery shopping. There are other structures like laundry and house cleaning, and those kinds of situations that go into being an adult can be daunting for young people who've never had to go grocery shopping, don't know how to shop on a budget,
right?
Don't understand how to do laundry, so they throw all their laundry
Listen.
into the same washing machine.
I don't think
all the colors.
I don't think I had an intimates bag until this past year.
Oh, you have an intimates bag?
Well, no, I use it for my satin pillowcases.
Oh, not for your intimates?
Listen.
Your intimates are your pillowcases? I'm confused.
This is the wrong podcast for that. It's one of those bags where you can put, your non-intimates, your Harry Potter satin pillowcases, because you're an adult.
That is definitely... Okay, I'm going to move on now to house cleaning.
Okay. I will say that is something I got from you. I didn't love doing it. I won't get into it. She's giving me faces, but I cleaned this house every week for a while when I was living here, which we will talk about later too, living with your parents, moving out, and then moving back in with your parents.
And then moving out.
And then moving out.
And then moving back in.
Okay, and then moving back out. Gosh, it's hard. It's hard being an adult. It's especially in this day and age. I know a lot of people my age that have had to move back in with their parents because, living prices are going up. And,
living prices?
Well, to live, it's expensive. It's expensive to live.
The cost of living
is going up, but the pay rate doesn't always go up with that cost of living.
Right.
It's not always equal.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a struggle. It's something that I've struggled with.
Especially with student loans.
And man, they will go after you. And if you do not pay your student loans, it will affect your credit.
Well,
and everything runs on credit these days.
It does. It really does.
You can be a bajillin there. That's not a thing, but you could be it.
A bajillin there?
And you could not have any credit cards, and you would not be able to buy a car because you don't have credit. It's wild.
Well, you could pay cash.
No, but sometimes you can't because they're like, oh, we want to see your credit score. Oh, we want to see if you have good credit.
No, if you're paying cash, they'll take the cash.
Okay, well, I know people that has happened to, and they don't take the cash. They have to have the credit. So,
okay. Well, I know if you stay in a hotel, they require a credit card.
That is true.
So
I've stayed at many Motel 6s.
Yeah.
That was. I
don't want to know. No. I really and truly don't want to know.
I was gonna say, from the time when I moved back here, Motel 6 was the most beautiful place that I stayed in every city across the country. And you know what? They had great Wi-Fi. I was still able to work. The last one, well, except for the last one, I'm pretty sure they filmed like the next 48 in that last one. You are not allowed to have technology while we record this podcast.
I don't know what that was. Something dinged.
Well, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about, or going a little bit more into things that we do as an adult, something I had to learn, and something I think that we just gain as we get older is little idiosyncrasies from our parents and other adults.
Gain idiosyncrasies?
I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I've been drinking, so...
You have idiosyncrasies.
Okay. You know what? You know what? If you've never not done something, you don't never get to tell me what I'm doing wrong, okay?
Honey, I used to tell you when you were little, there's nothing you can do that I haven't done worse.
Oh, I know.
So, you can't get away with anything.
Trust me, guys. I know. But what I mean is, for me, if I'm living somewhere and I see something that's dirty, like I constantly wipe my countertops down. I can't have crumbs. If there's dirt, I mean, I've lived with people who can tell you this, that I am a stickler for a clean house. Or especially a clean bathroom. It can be a tidy house, but it's got to be a clean bathroom and a clean kitchen.
So I must say that is part of your evolution into your 30s, because prior to then, I would say that was not the case, because I remember going into places that you lived.
Listen, the first year of college doesn't count, okay?
Or the second year of college.
And that one wasn't as bad.
Your final year.
My final year of college was so bad. You know what's really funny is that it exponentially got better. I remember the first year, she was like, how do you live like this? And I'm thinking it's not that bad. And the second year, she's like, well, it's not as bad as last year. And then the third year, she goes...
It was worse.
It wasn't worse.
It was worse than the first year.
It was not worse than the first year.
It was so bad.
It's because I dyed my hair so much. That's the only reason.
No, you weren't dyeing your hair in Liverpool.
Yes, I was. Remember, I told you I have pictures of it when it was purple. We can argue in another podcast episode.
I just know that when I went into that flat where the bedrooms were on the first floor and the living room and kitchen was on the second floor, and I went into the bathroom.
What flat was that? I always lived on like...
The one with Mark.
Okay, we lived on the second floor.
Right, but on the it was 2 levels.
Yes.
So yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and
okay, that's not fair. I lived with a boy.
It doesn't matter.
Not my boy, by the way. He was just a boy. He was a man. That sounds weird. I felt so
He was a roommate.
He was lovely. He was the loveliest person in the whole world.
He's still a lovely person.
He is.
Who's now married to a lovely person, and they have lovely children.
and lovely goats, and they are truly just they are that couple that you're just like, I hate you, but you don't because you love them so much.
Yeah, they are amazing.
They're amazing people.
They're truly amazing. So I think we should move on to the final
they're
skill.
Real adults.
Yeah, and they have been real adults.
They really have.
Yes. They've adulted well.
They have.
From an early age.
Well.
So we're going to move into the final area, which is developing interpersonal skills. And that focuses on workplace interactions or dating, even learning how to negotiate with like vendors or customer service reps. And those interactions can cause a lot of anxiety and discomfort and
anxiety
anger.
And stress and hair loss and cortisol levels to rise and lupus flare-ups, if you're me.
Are you talking about the service reps or the workplace interactions?
Okay, so I will say...
Or dating.
I was going to be like, all of them. So let's start with workplace. Because I think I've actually grown a lot.
You have.
In my interpersonal skills in the workplace.
And amazingly.
And some of that's you. Some of that's my sister because she works in HR. And some of that was my supervisor, who was always really, really good at being able to give feedback in a way that made me feel seen and heard, but also in a way where I was like, okay, yeah, I could be better about that. But that also took therapy because I wasn't always great at receiving feedback. And part of that comes from being a kid and being in the industry and having people be really cruel to me as a child.
I'm sorry, honey. I didn't know about the cruelty.
Well, that's just Hollywood.
Yeah, it was sad. But I think right now what you need to do is explain your sister, because most of the people listening have only heard about me being the single parent and raising you.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. You're like,
so they're like, what the
wait
fuck?
a minute. You have what? I have a sister. I call her my sister. She is technically a half sister. We have the same dad and different moms. She's an incredible mom. I hope to have her on the podcast at some point because she's also a single mom.
Yeah.
The kids are lucky.
A daughter.
Yeah, she has a daughter. An incredible daughter, by the way.
Who's beautiful.
Yes, and who will probably adult better than all of us combined at some point. But my sister did a really good job of adulting, and she kind of had to. We'll get into that episode with her one day later down the road. But interpersonal relationship skills at work. It's hard. It's very easy to, one, be too... If you're like me, you're too nice, so you get stepped all over. And when people give you feedback, you take it very personally. And that is something that I have worked on a lot as an adult. At least in the past 2 years. Stop making fun of me. We should video these. If my mom would let me video these, we would. But half the time, I'm wearing a blanket, and neither of us are really dressed for it.
Sometimes when she talks, she does her hand movements like Alexis on Schitt's Creek.
I was gonna say if you haven't watched Schitt's Creek, it's not gonna resonate. But if you have, it's a problem.
It's totally a problem.
I think I have been lucky the past couple of years to work with a phenomenal group of people where I've been working. I don't know if I'm allowed to say their names, so I won't, but they know who they are. They have been incredible in helping me.
Do you think they know who they are?
Oh, yes, they do. You know why?
Why?
Because I put the podcast link in our meeting chat today.
Oh, so they do know who they are.
If they listen, they do. They have been huge in my evolution in the workplace and being able to take constructive criticism, being able to have difficult conversations. And there are books like, I think it's called Daring Greatly, Brene Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what the book is called, and I feel really, really bad if that's not what it's called, but I had a regional director send me that book, and I read that book, and that helped a lot. Brene Brown is just great. If ever you want to learn more interpersonal skills,
she's the queen.
She is the queen. Or how to navigate the workplace in a way where everyone involved is empowered. But that's something.
Another good resource is Radical Candor by Kim Scott, because it talks about the importance of being honest and offering options and alternatives.
I like that.
And ways to help people grow in their career
Right.
but not shying away from telling them the truth, because then they don't have the opportunity to learn and grow. So I love the idea of radical candor.
I love that. And yeah, I have had to have difficult conversations or have had difficult things said to me where I could have internalized it and gone a completely different direction, but I was really lucky to have people that believed in me enough that I took it and went, you know what, I could be better. I could grow from this. And I'm very lucky to have had those people in my life because they've helped shape who I am today. And that feels really good. And so that's work, interpersonal skills. What else did we say?
And I will also say that you are very shapely.
What?
You said they help shape who you are today, and I said you're very shapely.
Am I fat?
No, that we aren't going there, because we are not about negating any body image.
No, we're not.
All girls have the rights to their bodies and the imagery that feels good to them. So no, you just.
I was kidding, by the way.
You've been well shaped.
Okay.
So you're shapely.
Okay, look that up in the dictionary and see if it's derogatory or not.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. Okay. Something else we want to talk about is benders. You guys.
Benders.
Wait. So 2 years ago, I had this issue with a phone company, and I won't say who they are. They know who they are. But
do they?
I don't know, probably not. But I had to talk to about 6 people because they charged me for something that I did not owe the money for. Hi, are you here?
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm looking up shapely.
Oh, okay. She's all of a sudden in her phone, and I'm like, we're recording a podcast here. Come on, lady. So a lot of the times that I've had issues with student loan companies or billing companies or any company of any kind that you have to talk to when you're an adult, whether it's the cable company, they overcharged you, they double charged you. I've had my mom do that because she is so phenomenal at getting shit done. I don't know how she does it, but people don't say no to her. And it's in a way where she's very nice about it, but she's also very like, don't fuck with me. And it's this fine line, and I'm learning how to make stuff happen. And I'm also learning what she has taught me, where sometimes it's not the first person that you talk to. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 people that you have to talk to. I just learned this with, I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want them to know.
Your student loan company.
Yes. They don't know our student loan company. It's like the same one for everybody, so.
Most of them.
But yeah, I had to talk to about 4 different people until I finally got someone who was like, oh yeah, we can help you, absolutely.
Yeah. Some people just don't. Some customer service reps really aren't about customer service. They're about doing what's easier for them. And so they're not going to go the extra mile. I had a beautiful woman today. Shout out to the credit card company that we have at the office. And I had an amazing young woman today who walked me through many, many steps. Took probably 30 minutes out of her time to spend it with me to resolve not just one issue, but 3 issues that I didn't even know I had. And she was amazing. So there are people out there. It just depends on who you get. And I have talked to multiple people with this credit card company.
Yeah.
None of them have given me what she gave me in terms of the customer service.
And I will say that there is something that you attract more flies with honey, because if you get into a yelling match with somebody, it's not going to work out. But if you just say, hi, can I talk to somebody else? And you stay just as sweet and calm. You don't have to be sweet, but if you stay just as calm and diplomatic and kind, you can always be kind. People will be far more responsive to you.
Unless you just get somebody who is so irritating, in which case you need to just say, look, this is not working for me. And clearly, we're not communicating well, so I'm going to hang up now, and I'm going to call back.
Well,
or you ask for their supervisor.
Oh, gosh, I wish boyfriends had a supervisor.
Yes.
Where you could just be like, excuse me, sir, we're not communicating well. Who's your supervisor? He's like, my mom. You're like, if only. And that brings us into relationships. and interpersonal skills in relationships. I am lucky that I've had incredible friendships. I've had interesting relationships with the male
Species.
I was going to say genre, and I knew that wasn't
No,
correct.
male species.
But they've gotten a lot better. And that takes...
Well, you are in a place now where you feel good about you. So you're not looking for, it goes back to the daddy issues episode. You're not looking for someone to take care of you. You're
Right.
not looking for someone who's going to fulfill you on a certain level.
Oh.
Your expectations are for them to meet you where you are as
Right.
opposed to come in and take care of you. And I think that goes a long way in creating a healthy dynamic when it comes to interpersonal dating types of relationships.
Absolutely, and I want to say something that I
You do?
have. I
You
do.
wanna say something?
I want to say something. Hands raised. I think it's really important for everyone to you and your technology. I think it's really
It's just
important.
dinging.
I think it's
know.
really important for my mom to turn off all of her technological.
Then I wouldn't have had the outline.
Okay.
And
Something
then
that's
I would
really
have been
important.
going rogue. And you don't want me going rogue.
No. Something that's really important in any relationship is being able to work on yourself. I have been reading this incredible book by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark from My Favorite Murder. They released a book, and it's like the ultimate how-to guide of how to stay sexy and don't get murdered. And I'm reading this thinking it's going to be about how to stay sexy and not get murdered, which it is, but it's also this really cool self-help book. And the last chapter I read was all about how pay for it yourself. Don't depend on somebody else. Depend on you for your own happiness, she was talking about a Vespa. She had dated this guy who had a Vespa, then she bought her own Vespa, and that's really when she realized, oh, I can create my own happiness. And that's what you should do before you try to have anybody else, try to fill in that hole of happiness that you're looking for.
Right.
So I think something I always think is brilliant to do as an adult is have a therapist. Have someone, and put that in your budget, but have someone who can objectively talk to you about things in life, who can help
Be
you.
honest with you.
Who can be honest with you, show that mirror, who can help you with your anxieties in life, and just be there when you need someone to talk to, because I know, we have a great relationship, and I've had people say that we have such a phenomenal relationship, but not everyone has that relationship with their mom or their parents in general. And so...
it's also taken a lot of work. It's taken therapy on your part. It's taken therapy on my part.
True.
And I think it's taken maturity on your part. And it's taken...
immaturity on your part.
It's definitely taken immaturity on my part. I think it's taken the ability for me to scale back on my expectations and my intensity, because I have a fairly intense personality. And
you guys want to hear a really bad joke? I'm sorry, I don't know why I feel the need to say this, and this is why I shouldn't drink, but I am. So I was listening to another podcast called Morbid, and they were talking about the circus fire.
You are such... It's like...
Hold on. I know. Squirrel. They were talking about...
I mean, you keep talking about My Favorite Murder and Morbid and how you want to be...
I'm hoping that one day we'll get on one of their networks.
Yeah, good luck. Anyway,
they made this joke, and it's a terrible joke,
Stalker.
you guys. It's a terrible bit. Anyway, I'm not. It's a terrible joke. It's a terrible joke. But they're talking about the circus fire that happened somewhere, I can't remember.
1800s,
in
Pennsylvania.
The 1800s. Wow, you're good.
Thank you.
Who's the stalker now? And Ash made a joke.
The Great
Ash, she's my friend. One day.
No, the Great Walindas were part of that.
Right,
I read
that's
the book.
true. So this is Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. There was a really bad fire at the circus, and someone says, "Did you hear about the circus fire?" And someone else goes, no. And they say, yeah, it was intense. That's not funny. It was really terrible. It was very tragic. And
it was very long ago.
It was very long ago. It was very, very tragic.
But it was
intense.
But
we have a morbid sense of humor, and that's why you're here with us. That's not why you're here with us, but hopefully you love us.
Yeah, I don't know that they're here with us because we have a morbid sense of humor.
True.
Or if they have but yeah. Anyway.
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Adulting. We were talking about adulting.
I know, but what were we talking about before? Your intensity.
Uh-huh.
Your intensity.
That was the whole point of the joke.
That was, yeah.
So, yeah, you're fine. I think, learning how to communicate in a way that didn't set you on edge, because sometimes one of my staff said this the other day, and I told her to pick another illustration, but she said sometimes you're Elmo and sometimes you're Hitler. You go from Elmo to Hitler.
Good God.
And I'm like, ooh, but that is not.
Are they still working for you?
Yes, because I take honesty. I like radical candor.
Fair.
And it's not that I am. It's just what the reference was to my intensity, not to that direct. But she says that's a reference she actually uses for her husband. So, and they're still married, so it didn't bother me that much.
Don't say her name. Okay.
So, and I work on that, but my intensity is just part of who I am. I'm intense. It's allowed me to be successful in my career. It's allowed me to work at a level that most people aren't able to maintain. And talking about adulting, I think adulting for women is 10 times harder than it is for men.
Amen.
Because we have so much more to overcome.
Yes.
The inequities in pay, the stereotypical perception that women are more hysterical or are emotional. We're seeing a lot of that right now in our current communications, the media, around the election. There's this concept
and the Olympics, because we happen to be in the Paris 2024 Olympics. I watched a beautiful ad last night about it was a Nike ad, and it was about women
and being portrayed as crazy. And
they were like, you know what? If they say you're crazy, be fucking crazy.
Exactly.
And just do it.
They didn't say fucking.
No, they didn't. That's
because
me.
it was an ad.
That's true.
On media.
Right.
Yeah. But we can say that.
But it is harder as a woman to be taken seriously as an adult, because even though we technically mature faster than men.
Well, we mature differently than men.
True.
And we're much more capable of looking at all sides.
Yes.
And being inclusive.
That's true.
And being gracious. And, for years I wanted to write a book called A Working Woman's Two Best Friends, Wit and Grace.
Oh, I love that. Which, it might happen, you guys, when my mom told me the other day that she was too tired. She's like, I'm not lazy, I'm just tired. Well, no, I said that.
No, I said that.
Oh, I said that when I wanted to feed Luna. I didn't want to feed Luna.
Right, that was today.
That was today.
But the other day,
right.
You asked me if I was ever interested in writing a book, and I said, yeah, but I'm just too tired right now.
Because you're doing it all.
Well, and
because
one day...
you are the penultimate adult.
I am...
You are the... If I look at my mom...
I can't say that word because I'm drinking, but you said it very well. I'm that adult.
But my mom really is the adult of adults. I listen to her on the phone. I watch her run organizations. I watch her...
I only run one.
Well, and I've watched you run organizations.
Past tense, yes.
Organizations. I watch you speak to people on a daily basis. I watch you help people. There is a reason that you are one of my biggest inspirations, and I'm not saying that to butter your biscuit. Sorry, I saw butter. And I'm not saying that just
sounded weird.
I'm not saying that to blow smoke or anything like that, but it's true.
What do you want?
I want food. I'm hungry.
I knew you wanted something.
I'm hungry. But you have taught me how to help other people adult in certain ways, because you have been an inspiration for me, and I have watched you, and despite what you may think, I've learned a lot from you.
Oh, thank you, honey.
You're very welcome. So
well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've really seen such a major growth in your emotional and psychological and just spiritual ability to embrace adulting. So I'm really, it's exciting to see this finally.
Thank you. Finally. Wow, it was going so well. And then she was like, finally. Well, tomorrow we will not be super adult. Okay, I just want to say, you know what's really fun?
No.
How
long are we talking?
We're not. We're going to wrap it up in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, because I don't think people want to just hear us talk. Okay.
So tomorrow we are going to be less than adults. We are going to, my mom offered to see Deadpool and Wolverine with me, which I'm very excited about. And actually, you took me to see the first one, and this one can't be as bad as that one, because I remember that one, there was a scene where the girlfriend was eating mashed potatoes out of his butt, so...
Really?
Yes.
It's amazing how
she's like, I block out all the uncomfortable shit.
I do.
And I'm like, I remember it all, so it never happens again.
Except in the next movie.
We'll see. I hear it's not as bad.
What?
I asked my friends, I was like, is there any point in the movie where that happens? And they said no. So I think it'll just be gory, but I think it'll be wonderful because it's Ryan Reynolds and he's beautiful. Oh, and Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
I was going to say who you like.
You know. Ooh, you know how I feel about Hugh Jackman.
I do.
I so adore Hugh Jackman. He's so
hot.
hot.
She got southern excited about Hugh Jackman.
I did. Do you remember the time that we saw him down on the 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica?
No.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. I don't get starstruck easily, but I was like, oh my God. I didn't get starstruck with Johnny Depp in Spin Class. I did get a little starstruck with Colin Farrell in yoga class.
Can I just say, guys, we're going to wrap this up now. But Colin Farrell can do a handstand like nobody's business, and that
he is hotter in person than he is.
Wait, didn't you tell him he looks like a younger version of Colin Farrell?
I did.
You look like a younger version of Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell's like, do I take that as a compliment, or do I?
He just kind of smiled and walked off.
He was very nice. I spoke to him too because he was at the yoga class I took with you. He was very nice. Very nice. Man, that guy can... I wasn't paying attention.
I miss those yoga classes.
I bet you do. I wasn't paying attention because Colin Farrell was in...
Easy for you to say.
It's
time to wrap it up.
Time to wrap it up. Time for dinner. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you learned some things about adulting. If you have any stories about your adulting experience or adventure or journey, please send it to our email address. We would love to tell some of our listener tales. So you can email us at
larkandmonster@gmail.com.
Yes, larkandmonster@gmail.com. Sorry, I interrupted.
What's new? Turnabout's fair play.
larkandmonster@gmail.com.
And if you are listening to the podcast and have input, please feel free to share your input. And if you like us, feel free to
give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, or 4. We'll take a 4.
4.5.
Or 5. Or
Between
4.
4 and 5.
Anywhere.
Don't be a dick. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you next week.
No, we will talk at them next week.
That's true too, unless you guys send in your stories.
And then we will listen and
talk about you.
Yeah. Nicely.
Nicely.
Okay, bye.
Bye.